Pulsing out from the transmitter tower into the tubes and coils behind your radio dial, it's like a welcome knock on the door and the sound of the familiar voice of an old friend.
Hey! Audio.
Synchronicity.
Life. You really mean that? Yes.
Monsters exist.
Yes. Yes, always.
I didn't ask for this. America's favorite breakfast-themed superhero, Waffle Man.
Your friend. This is a lot of shit, you know that.
Invite your contract.
Such pests.
And then now, roll the camera.
Now, what is it you want? In your depths of your ignorance, what is it you want?
You are now synchronized.
Hello, people of the internet. I am Andres Perez, aka Kaiju Noir, and here with me is my co-pilot, my faithful sidekick, the one and only Brayton Connor of Brands and Films, and welcome to episode 21 of Audio Synchronicity, the debut episode for the brand new decades, that is, the Neo Roaring 20s.
Are we setting up for a horrible depression in the Neo 30s, Andres? This is gonna suck.
I mean, debatably, we're already kind of going through a depression.
Oh, and that's true. We've been, yeah. We're all depressed and poor.
we've been in a depression since like the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, vaudeville's dead. It's all just gone to shit. But yeah,
indeed.
we're episode 21. We're able to consume alcoholic beverages now.
That is true. Yeah, no, that's not until 20. That's not until 2021. Oh, you're right, because during the 20s,
episode 21 is what I'm saying.
Right, episode 21. That's right. So the show itself is legally able to drink now.
But the Earth is not.
No. The century is not. They still got to wait just one more year, unless. Yeah, unless they want to get into some little bit of tomfoolery, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the little shenanigans with your little hooligan selves out there.
And the little hootenannies, you know.
Putting things in the kids these days. But I gotta say, Andres, we kind of have a rockin' theme song, don't we? I mean, I'm not taking too much credit because I didn't record the damn thing. But I believe you
put it together, right?
I did put it together, put little bells and whistles on there, and I believe it's what the kids would call a banger. The kids these days,
a humdinger of a doozy,
a humdinger of a doozy
in certain parts of youth culture.
A lit beat, as some might say.
Yes.
We need to go trending number one on YouTube with that song. Fuck Eminem and his little Godzilla music shit. We are going to be number one, and we're going to rap, and it's going to be horrible. And people are going to like it, though, because we have great personalities.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's how it works, right? The louder your personality is, the more popular you become, right? Right.
And with rap, the louder you yell, the more popular you become, too. Or maybe the more you mumble. That seems to be a thing. Mumble rap.
I think nowadays it's like the more you brag about your wealth.
The shit that you own.
Yeah. That's how fame is reached, right?
I don't know if I own anything to brag about though. I got a bunch of socks. Yeah, I got a bunch of multicolored coats. Oh, see, that's not hopping. That's not with it.
No, that's. We'll work on it later. We'll work on it later. But in the meantime,
another time.
Yes, another time, another place, another timeline maybe. But yeah, we are here. It is the first live stream of the decade, and it's funny. We were talking about just before this stream started. You and I were talking about how as time progresses and as we become older, we start to see. We start to feel older as, like, the younger generations behind us start to get older as well. It's like, this year I'm going to turn 28, and I was mentioning to you how, like, at this point in my life, people who are 10 years younger than me are going to become legal adults.
Yeah,
and so,
it feels weird.
Again, the first 28 years of my life, anyone who was 10 years younger than me was a child, legally speaking. And now, when you look 10 years back... Oh, here's the thing. Even crazier, when you think 10 years back to your life, you're still a child.
Yeah.
But now, for me, when I think 10 years back, I'm still an adult.
That's crazy. Yeah. I'm telling you, you people you got one foot in the grave already, man.
Right?
Old fogies,
And it's funny
boomers. Even.
Oh God.
Don't you love that phrase?
Oh,
People are gonna be.
I love that.
I'm sure people in my life are gonna use that on me now. Now they have more ammunition to call me a boomer.
They're perfect. I got the perfect word for you: a zoomer.
What is that?
I believe it is kind of like just the opposite.
Is that a boomer but cool? Is that a cool boomer?
It's just kind of like a reverse Uno insult card sent to
okay.
Generation Z people, and I really don't know when Generation Z exists. I mean, I feel like people tend to generalize the generations as boomers, millennials, and Gen Zs, which is weird because
is Gen Z like after 90? When does that start?
Not really sure because I always thought that like people who were in the 80s and 90s were referred to as like Generation Y, and then Generation, like boomers. I think we also called them Generation X, and then Generation Y, then Generation Z. I'm not sure why we decided to skip. We decided to look over the alphabet system, instead go for these weird terms. I'm gonna check right now. Gen Z. What is a Gen Zer? What is a Zoomer? Let's see. The Generation Z, often shortened to Gen Z, according to Wikipedia, is a demographic cohort succeeding the Millennials, or Generation Y. Demographers and researchers typically use the mid to late 90s as starting birth years. Okay, so I was early 90s, so that doesn't affect me.
But so I am a Zoomer.
You're
then.
a Zoomer.
Sounds like like a rip-off Uber or something. I'm a Zoomer. I like it though. I like it.
It reminds me of this thing. Like I think it was on PBS. There was a show called Zoom. I forgot what it was about. It was like kids dancing or some weird like.
Aren't all the shows on there about kids dancing? And
yeah. Barney, Teletubbies. It's all about dancing and edumacations.
Dancing and who needs it? That's what I say.
And alphabets, and then the Sesame Streets.
Yeah.
Let's see. Children of Generation X and sometimes millennials or baby boomers, members of Generation Z, have used digital technology since a young age and are comfortable with the internet and social media, but are not necessarily digitally literate. Not really sure what that means, but you know what? I remember I was listening.
Oh, digitally literate, as in they can't use technology? That's me. That's me. I fit in there.
It reminds me of like I've noticed a lot of. Okay, so Nshoma just told me that Zoom is essentially PBS Soul Train. Oh my god, I need to see that. And Sean Barry just mentioned The Wiggles and Yo Gabba Gabba as well on PBS.
Yeah, just a bunch of gallivanting around with little kids and weird men in multicolored costumes.
That was Yo Gabba Gabba was definitely above my time. Bramakian asks, speaking of PBS, do you know a man named Bob Ross? Of course I know Bob Ross. He's a living legend. I believe I may have seen some Bob Ross back in the day, like between episodes, or maybe like right after episodes of Sesame Street of some kind on PBS.
Yeah. They're Bob Ross, Mr. Rogers. Those are the guys who have who have spanned the generations, and then are still treasured and not forgotten in any stretch of the imagination.
What was it? What was my train of thought here? Oh yeah, so I've listened to a few YouTubers that have emerged within the 2020s, and a lot of them are people who are like roughly 5 years younger than me, and they would talk about how when they were children, they grew up on stuff like the PS3 and the Wii, and they talked about having tablets in elementary, like school-assigned, classroom-assigned tablets in elementary school. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Tablets in elementary school, what?
Yeah, well, I remember my friends kind of being like, I was raised in a very forward-thinking, progressive household. We weren't like, poor and couldn't afford the fancy Xbox and all that. But I had the bare necessities, my friend. I was raised like I was a peasant in the 1800s. I had
with an old Atari 2600 and a copy of Frogger.
Yeah, and Catcher in the Rye. That's what got me through the years as a youth.
War and Peace. I'm sure that was the hit novel back in your day.
Oh yeah, that taught me to read, and then I got really depressed. But no, yeah, I didn't. Even the phone that I have now, I really don't know how to use. So I guess
Yeah.
kids who are born with a silver phone in their hand, like, are much better at it than I am. But yeah, I was never a gamer, so that was never really a big concern to me. I had a GameCube,
Yeah.
and then I had used my brother's Super Nintendo, and those were really my game systems as a little kid. I have a PS4 now, but I never play any video games on it. I just use it
Except
for
Frogger HD, maybe.
yeah, Frogger, Extreme POV, Frogger, first person Frogger.
Frogger 4K 4K
Yeah.
Frogger.
Yeah. Yeah, what is it? What is it? The virtual VR Frogger. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't
You
need
get to
that.
see the
I
cars
just go
coming
out and
at
play
ya.
I just go out and play in traffic for VR Frogger. I don't even need the fancy headset. But no, I remember friends of mine, like, even in elementary school, like in the 5th grade, 10 years ago, having like cell phones and stuff. And I was like, that's crazy. Why do you need that? I don't need a cell phone. Who am I going to call? My mom?
The Ghostbusters?
The ghost, Ernie Hudson? He's always available and dependable.
He's like in the middle of the elementary school. I shouldn't be here.
This is weird. But no, I always thought that. I still think that because my nephews have like they're glued to tablets, and I don't like that. When they're around me, they're not that way. I don't allow it. It's a little. It's a little.
Allow it.
It's a little Black Mirror like for me, like being sucked into technology, and they're staring blankly into screens.
Now, I wouldn't be one of those kind of people who would be like, "Oh, technology is bad. Oh, kids today they spend too much time on their tablets and phones." I've never really agreed with that. I mean, I can see to an extent it's like, "Oh, you're not enjoying real life. You're not going outside. You're just." It's the same thing they said to our generation. It's like, "Oh, you're playing video games and spending too much time on the internet." It's like, I see the appeal. I see the importance of technology and how it allows us to interconnect with each other. I mean, heck, look at what we're doing. Look at what you and I and all of our audience is doing right this second.
I think that's okay, like, once you get to a certain age. But like when my nephew's like 5 years old and he's like glued to a pad or whatever, watching videos of kids playing with toys instead of playing with all the ones that he has, or going outside and digging a hole or something. Something kids do.
Right.
I just look at it with my antiquated views and be like, oh, come on, you're a child. Cut yourself off from the real world once you're my age. Don't rob your childhood of all the adventure and shenanigans.
Although, what if they were using that tablet to like read a book? What would you say then?
That would be cool. They do have like some little educational games on there, which is fun.
Yeah.
Because I did have a it wasn't a tablet, but it was like a weird electronic book thing.
Was it Leapfrog?
Yes.
I remember Leapfrog.
Yeah. Yep. It was like it was a weird, like, big old boxy thing.
Jordan Fazan said, "Sorry, what? I was playing video games. What were you guys saying?"
Brayton spent a lot of his youth leapfrogging, Jordan. That's all, or Joseph, whoever you are. That's all you need to know. But no, yeah, I do remember Leapfrog. That was, and I think if kids are on electronics to like stimulate their brain cells, because when you're a young kid,
right?
That stuff's important, and so if they're doing that, that's great. But I mean, don't be like me. Don't be like your uncle when you're that young, just wasting your time watching funny videos on the internet.
And so, you know what I was thinking myself? We really need to take things back. We need to take things back a notch. We need to use less technology, settle our disputes the old-fashioned way. And I came across a story that proves just that. Because custody battles. I
can't believe this is real.
Custody battles can be a pain in the ass. And sometimes it comes to points like these where you really need to settle things with a good old trial by combat.
Vicious combat.
It's like the only way to truly solve legal disputes is to beat the shit out of one another.
Yeah, and you gotta make sure you gotta get legal though. You gotta make sure you gotta go to a court and have a court appointed combat. You can't just say
Yes,
you just can't get
always.
in an argument and be pulling out the
No,
scimitars and whatnot.
yeah. We're not savages, okay? It's a 21st.
No.
It's 2020, people. And so let's see. I'm gonna see if I can share the link here. It looks like I did. And so, looking over at this this little news article that I found floating around Facebook a lot during this past week. Kansas man requests trial by combat with swords to settle custody battle with ex-wife. And guess where this is happening? This article comes from Harlan, Iowa.
Oh, great.
Let's see.
That's encouraging.
Let's see. A Kansas man has asked an Iowa judge to let him engage in a sword fight with his ex-wife and her attorney so that he can rend their souls from their bodies.
Is this real, or is this like a phony comedy thing?
Now,
I can't believe this.
after looking-
Even in Iowa, I can't believe this.
I think Kansas man is trying to go for he's trying to challenge Florida man for the title of world's dumbest human being. It's like right now, Florida man. It's like finally a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary. Then you'll hear like, what was it, like that song, dun 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 dun. Let's see. David Ostrom, 40, of Paola, Kansas, said in a January 3rd court filing that his former wife, Bridget Ostrom, 38, of Harlan, Iowa, and her attorney, Matthew Hudson, had destroyed him legally. The Ostroms have been embroiled in disputes over custody and visitation issues and property tax payments. The judge had the power to let the parties resolve our disputes on the field of battle legally, David Ostrom said, adding in his filing that trial by combat has never been explicitly banned or restricted as a right in these United States. I mean, he's technically right. There's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't.
You can't,
you
attack
can't
your
attack
ex-wife with a sword
if
it's illegally in a legal environment.
Right, in a legal, yeah. It's nothing that says it can't be legally sound.
So I guess it's okay then, since nobody was creative enough to put it down in writing that you can't do it. This guy can just show up to a local court and say, "Hey, I want to go at it. It's my medieval weaponry, but I want your okay first."
He also asked the judge for 12 weeks' time so he can secure Japanese samurai swords. That's his choice. He wants to go things like Kurosawa style.
Oh, okay. Well, at least he's a man of taste then, in class.
Yeah. He's not gonna like take out like toy lightsabers and try to recreate a Duel of the Fates.
Yeah, what am I, an asshole? No. It's the right way.
In his mind, he's imagining like he is Darth Maul and his ex-wife and her attorney. That's like Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan.
It just turns out. Have you seen that video of the poor fat shirtless kid lightsaber dueling his friend in the front, falling over? Anger is not the way of the Jedi.
Oh God! I shit myself. That is classic.
Expectations
right
versus reality.
Who said I was a Padawan?
That's the greatest thing. Anyway, I just find it hilarious that the idea of, well, nobody said that you can't do it, and then there's a second thought about it, because obviously you can't do it. I mean, you can't just. Has this ever been attempted or tried before? Has anyone come to a judge in history asking for this?
I'm sure there was like what do you call those, like gun duels? You take 10 steps and 10 paces and then quick and turn. I think like one of our presidents was killed that way, maybe.
Oh, wasn't fucking Hamilton? Alexander Hamilton killed that way?
Yeah, I want to say it was Hamilton who was involved in one of those disputes.
Yeah, he got shot and then like got infected and died like a couple days later.
Like, oh, maybe this wasn't a good idea.
He does a little quick rap number before he dies. Because Hamilton.
Yeah, that's a thing now.
Yeah.
It's been a thing for a while. His motion filed in Shelby County District Court stemmed from his frustration with his ex-wife's attorney, Ostrom told the Des Moines Register. So I gotta tell you, Brayden, when the court hearing happens, you need to go there. You were in Iowa.
I'll go. I will.
Yeah.
Des Moines not that far away. I'll drive there. I want to see it.
You need to go to the Shelby.
I'll be the audio synchronicity on-field reporter
Yeah.
there. Do a little live special.
That's right, Andres. As you can tell, this battle is getting very violent. I'm currently risking my own safety and well-being just by being this close to the combat. You can hear right now, and you're shoving your arm with the microphone, and then it gets chopped off by the katanas.
Oh my God, are you alright? Yeah, I've had worse. Just but a scratch.
So yeah, you got to go to the Shelby County District Court when the court hearing happens, and you got just like those. Remember how like whenever like Chris Chan went to court, and they're like a bunch of Christorians there to witness everything, and like they're taking down notes and taking like recording quotes and everything like that.
I'll remember this if I'm able to. I'll do it. I'll do it and I'll document it to the best of my ability. If it's allowed.
So he says, I think I've met Mr. Hudson's absurdity with my own absurdity, Ostrom adding that his former wife could choose Hudson to act as her champion.
These are real people. These aren't like 12-year-olds who just got like cheated in a Dungeons & Dragons game. These are adults.
You've hurt me emotionally, so I shall hurt you physically.
You've hurt me legally, so prepare to be hurt lethally with my sword.
Hudson argued in his legal response that because a duel could end in death, such ramifications likely outweigh those of property tax and custody issues. Hudson asked the judge to reject the request for trial by combat. Judge Craig Dresmeyer said in his own filing Monday that he won't be issuing a decision anytime soon, citing irregularities with both sides' motions and responses. He's like, hold up, guys.
He will be issuing mental exams, though, for the two parties.
He's like, hold on, okay? I need some time to deal with this.
Process this.
It's a lot of news to take in, folks.
Yeah.
I would never learn this in judge school.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they don't teach what to do in case of legal sword battle conflict.
Unless there's like an old elderly scroll that's like hidden away behind a glass container.
Iowa?
In Iowa. It's all old.
In the great medieval battle state of Des Moines, Iowa.
He has to break in case of trial by combat. He breaks it. He opens the scroll. There's like tons of dust that flies out. He's like, I can't. He has difficulty reading it because it's all in like ye old England, ye old English.
What do I do, scroll? Fucketh if I knoweth.
He says, until the proper procedural steps to initiate a court proceeding are followed, this court will take no further action concerning any motion, objection, or petition filed by either party at this time, the judge said.
Lame. What's his name? Craig Zenderson? Lame, man.
Craig Dresmeyer.
Dresmeyer?
Yeah, I figured a Dresmeyer would be cowardly. It would take the coward's choice.
That old Dresmeyer clan, bunch of weenies. I would have granted it just so I could report on it and laugh at it and post it on the internet.
And you know, I listened to the interview. In fact, maybe I can play the interview here, so you might not be able to hear it, Brayden, unless you were to watch the stream itself. But I'll play it right here for the audience to listen to. And it seems to me that this is nothing more than like a publicity stunt in order for this man, Mr. Ostrom, David Ostrom, to bring attention to the unfairness of legal custody issues concerning the role that the father tends to play in. I'm assuming this is one of those cases where the mother gets 100% control over how often the father can see his own child. Maybe he felt that was unfair, and in an act of desperation, he used the trial by combat to a sword fight just to bring attention to this absurd situation.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm gonna play
Well, can you link me to it?
Yes, of course. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, yeah, we'll sync it up. We'll sync up together.
Okay.
All right, so this is a first for, because yeah, usually when it comes to like OBS, it's allowed to take any sort of audio from my desktop and will be played for the folks on YouTube. So hopefully this will play. Now I do want to take a look at the comments here. S452 says, "Oh boy, that's in my state."
You're a fellow Iowan. Yeah, it's not very surprising though. I don't want to harp on Iowa too much, but don't we have better things to do, like stare at cows or something?
That's the thing. There's nothing. I'm assuming there's jack shit to do in Iowa.
Yeah.
So
I guess this is how you get your excitement. Just challenge your ex-wife to trial by combat. I don't know. I feel like doesn't everybody know that the custody whatever is ridiculous anyway, and like totally corrupt and unfair in most cases.
Yeah. So
do you have to really bring attention to it this way?
I don't know, man. Desperate times call for desperate measures, you know.
Oh my god.
And we got a $20 super chat from D-Man, the D-Man. Hey, Derek. He says, "I know I've missed the last many of these, and I can't stick around this time either, but I wanted to stop by and send some love. Thank you so much, D-Man. We greatly appreciate it."
I'm gonna challenge you to medieval combat, D-Man, next time we meet in person.
Who can
just two twigs. Who can lift a giant axe between the two of us?
It's like
that'll be the challenge.
We challenge you for the King of Godzilla YouTubers. It's like we'll it's like you can choose a partner of your own in a 2-on-2 combat.
It's like a live action fighting screen of him choosing.
It'll be like, choose your player. He chooses like Goji Fan 93.
Hey guys.
Dun, 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 dun.
We gotta have combo attacks, Andre. So you stand on my shoulders and I'll shoot a fireball or something. I don't know.
We'll both spin really fast, we'll stick our arms.
That's a
out
good trick.
Fast.
Yeah.
Try spinning. That's a good trick.
So I hear.
Let's see. Bermakian Productions says, "It's so sad that we live in an imperfect world." I don't know.
We live in a society where relationships are so damaged.
What do you get?
This is a feasible outcome.
You get when you have a man who can't see his own son in a society that doesn't care about him. You get what you fucking deserve. And he swings his sword at his wife.
And misses completely. Kills a nearby Robert De Niro instead. Oh, every time.
D-Man says, "Let's do it. It'll truly be an epic battle." And Shoma says, "Big Boss Man shows up and belly bumps both Braytona and D-Man into oblivion." D-Man says, "Yeah, if Enshoma joins you, I lose."
Yeah, that's true. This is in Shoma's world. We're just living in it. That's
And Jacob says, "My money is on Mr. Multiverse." Oh, that's Deadpool Zilla's new name.
Oh, okay, well then, yeah. Okay.
Oh, you know what? It's true. He could potentially kick my ass because I know he's been working out.
Oh my god! And I've never worked out a day in my life. This is going to end horribly.
Let's see.
You're on your own.
He's like Sam Jackson. "Oh no, my brother, you on your own." Martin Caspery Smith says, "I don't know what's sadder. It's 2020 and we still don't have flying cars, or Reptar is more mainstream than Godzilla." You know, he may have a point there. More people might know who Reptar is. Be more familiar with Rugrats and Reptar.
I think most people have a general idea of what Godzilla is, though. If you just
I'm sure there's
like a very general sense, or big dinosaur.
I'm sure there's like there's a larger emotional attachment to Reptar because so many people grew up on Rugrats than Godzilla. Let's see.
Yeah, and with flying cars, do you really want flying cars? I mean, think about that.
I remember I was on MJ Knight's live stream way back in like 2015, I think, and I mentioned like if people can barely handle like driving in 2 dimensions on the road, imagine the chaos that happens in a 3-dimensional
Think about road rage, like road rage. People flying cars into each other. Oh my god, what a nuisance.
Yeah, I bet you it'll be so expensive to even like apply for a flying car license that it's not even worth it at that point.
Yeah. You just want flying cars so you can say, "Oh, I own a flying car."
Right. You just want the cred. You just want to like.
Yeah.
Let's see. Julius Bridgeforth says there's a whole documentary on that lightsaber kid called Full Force. It's hilarious.
I've watched that. I've been upset. His name is Airsoft Fatty, and he's a national treasure. God damn it, he's not that fat kid. But no, yeah, he's an enigma, and I would choose him as a fighter because he does a pretty good job until he falls over. He's a master swordsman. But yeah, what's his name? iDubbbz.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. Yeah. It's very interesting for iDubbbz to do something like that, given his reputation as like the content cop, the guy who usually goes after and destroys YouTubers rather than promote them.
Yeah, that would be fun. I think if he does more stuff like that, that'd be kind of neat. Just
totally.
Mini documentaries on sort of oddball YouTubers. It'd be fun.
Yeah, totally. Although it also really sucks that apparently YouTube took down his entire content cop series. Yeah, I guess it's considered like harassment or whatever to talk about another YouTuber. So hey, we might get screwed over because we just challenged D-Man here.
Oh, great! Of course, us peons picking on the big fish, and we get punished. Oh.
Let's see. S452 says also that go outside argument is not all that useful when it's snowing so bad outside that cars in driveways are completely
tell me
buried.
about it.
Yeah, again, that's another thing that we were just talking about right now or before the stream. How you became that meme guy who was slipping and sliding on the street before throwing his shovel away.
Yeah. It's hellish out there. And yeah, the snowplows are doing a public service, but it doesn't matter if the streets are clear if you can't get out of your driveway. They entrap you in your own driveway, and you have to go out there. You can't snowblower because the snow is so mounded up and thick, and so you have to do it by hand and break it down. And I'm thin and I'm cold and I'm like just wrapped in these layers of clothing to protect myself, and I can't see anything, and it's hell. And I had to get ready for my podcast. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of going outside like now. But I mean, when you're during the summer, when there's sunshine out and mosquitoes outside, and be a kid, go find a dead body in the forest or something. I don't know. Reenact your own little Stephen King book. It'll be fun.
I see D-Man. He's left the building, so thank you very much for stopping by, D-Man.
Thank you.
I saw Jordan's post with the Jojo reference. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I'm sure Hamon abilities would be a much more cooler, more extravagant use of settling combat. But we don't have Hamon in the real world. We just have Hamon, which is Spanish for ham. And so,
isn't that enough for you people? What more do you want?
Oh, okay. So let's go into the video right here. So
yeah, I've got it up.
If everything works out the way it does, the listeners should be able to hear it. If it is.
I see the little guy from Game of Thrones. There he is. Okay.
So I got it at 0-0. So hopefully everyone will be able to hear this. So get ready to press play in 3, 2, 1, play.
We can all thank Game of Thrones for bringing attention to the phrase trial by combat.
I've seen the television show and read the books.
That's what Paola's David.
And I really just wanted to cut my wife's head off,
And that's when I thought, that's right, Father. I shall become a combatter.
I shall become a Game of Thrones.
Demands the court sanction trial by combat to resolve these disputes.
I'm not interested in physically causing harm to anyone.
He says he's not violent or crazy.
I don't want to cause harm. I just want to cause
He
dismemberment.
considers a system that in some counties, specifically in his case, he says, is stacked against men when it comes to issues of custody and financial support.
They've tried to ignore me, not address equal custody.
They called me names.
And I think this.
They said I was
Didn't
crazy.
let me play in any reindeer games.
Decided that from this day forward, trial by combat will be forbidden throughout the Seven Kingdoms.
The approach was eventually outlawed in the fictional TV show, but no such explicit prohibition exists in the United States, which was part of Ostrom's argument. His ex's lawyer responded in court that, quote, just because the U.S. and Iowa constitutions do not specifically prohibit battling another person with a deadly katana sword, that's the weapon Ostrom suggested, it does prohibit a court sitting in equity from ordering same. The lawyer
Like,
then
just
asked
because
that
you
Ostrom
can
lose
doesn't mean you
visitation
should.
rights and submit to a psychiatric
People are wasting
evaluation.
ink on
Ostrom
this.
says he knows the
You're
whole thing
right.
is ridiculous and absurd, and that's the point.
I've kind of run out of options, and
So I
no
figured
one
this was
pays
the
attention to
natural
what
next
I
step,
think is,
the logical
hardship
next step.
on myself and my children.
He's got attention now, more widespread than he wanted, but heck, he says.
Hey, I'm
take
not
it
done
if it
talking.
opens up
Stop
the
talking over me.
conversation about co-parenting.
You want to go at it with a sword?
And others.
I got katanas in my trunk. $5,000 to the winner. Let's go, lady. I mean, it is a fair point, that with legal stuff being stacked against the what do you call them, spouse or whatever?
Right, spouses, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a little much, guy.
It's a little extreme. Just a tiny bit.
God, imagine he went with Game of Thrones. Imagine if he was a big fan of The Walking Dead or something. Trial by flesh eating.
Or imagine he was like a Dragon Ball fan. It's like trial by martial arts tournament.
By flying and screaming very loud and exploding each other. He just does that in the middle of the interview.
I am the legendary super dumbass.
Sir.
He's the legend. He is the super redneck.
Yeah, that guy. He seems like a quiet, down to earth guy, but those are the ones you got to watch.
Oh yeah, most definitely. All right, so let's see. Anything left to say about this crazy man other than good luck, I suppose?
I don't know. Do you think that narrative of it's supposed? Of course, I meant to be ridiculous. Do you think that was the narrative all along, or do you think he actually wanted to pursue this? And it's well, of course it's ridiculous once the pressure's put on.
Imagine he's like, it's just a prank, bro. Essentially.
Oh God. Is there a just a prank, bro defense in the court of law? You can use that.
There's the insanity plea.
Yeah. I imagine just put yourself in the position of the judge or the person who has to read over this stuff. Someone wasted ink on trying to convince somebody that let's participate in sword-to-sword combat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nutty world we live in, Andres. Iowa is a strange repressed land. There's not a lot to do besides go outside and tend to your cornfields. So I guess if you got a couple katana swords laying around, you got a couple ex-wives you're not talking to, pursue that dream.
Right. If not, there's always other options. Like we mentioned, like the gun duel. Gun duels,
jousting.
Yeah.
Hoverboard jousting.
Yeah, that could be potentially a thing later down the line, and imagine like car jousting.
Oh my God!
What was that called? Chicken, where like two cars are driving towards each other, and the person who gets out of the way loses.
Yeah, just dumb shit. Trial by dumb shit. Call it that. Just pick an activity and go for it. Trial by obstacle course.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Like American
TV. Yeah, American Gladiator style.
American Ninja, all that sort of stuff. The hole in the wall game.
Yeah. Trial by game show.
Yeah, trial by game show, or trial by Smash Brothers,
Yeah, but then you'll get another guy like that Big Bucks guy who just studies the trial by game show so much that he beats his ex-wife instantly. No whammies.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, please check out the episode of Fully Endorsed in which Dylan and I talk about Big Bucks.
I watched that documentary.
Yeah,
I watched that because of your guys' after I was done with the title card for it. I was like, I wonder what this is, and it was really fascinating.
Yes, it was. It's like, holy shit, this man just fucked everyone, including
himself in the end. Yeah. God, imagine what that sad story about him leaving for like a Christmas party or whatever, and all of his money getting oh God.
I like I mentioned to Dylan, it's like, haven't you ever heard of a bank?
You think he was set up? Like someone was just waiting for him to leave, or I can't imagine. Or I would hate to be one of those people who win and do so like so publicly that everybody knows I have money now. It kind of puts a target on your head.
Oh, a
for
big target, yeah.
Yeah, especially with that much notoriety of like, I went away with the biggest ever in history, and it's all mine, and look at me, and it's publicized that much. Yeah, that would kind of suck. If I ever won the lottery, I wish to be anonymous.
Let's see. So let's get into the questions now. We got a lot of questions in the last episode, mostly from Jordan Fazan. So thank you very much, Jordan, for your consistent.
Are they giant robot questions?
Some of them, I believe.
Okay.
So let's see. The oldest one here is from Bermakian Productions. Let's see. One single question. This time anime related. In your opinion, what is the best and worst Gundam season that you want to tell anyone to watch and or throw into the nearest trash or fireplace? Let's see. So the best Gundam season, that is very difficult to say, but I think the general consensus is usually Zeta Gundam, which was the very second series after the original. The second Gundam series after the original. Most people tend to hold that up in high regard. Terney Gundam is another very beautiful one. It's essentially, I've always pitched it as like, what if Ghibli and Miyazaki made a Gundam show? And it's like a very, very like, how do you say, calm, very not toned down, very mellow. It's a very mellow series as opposed to like just constant Star Wars-esque battles, space battles. Let's see. As for the worst Gundam season, I've never seen it, but every Gundam fan likes to pile on Gundam Seed Destiny, the sequel to Gundam Seed, mainly because it introduces new characters that were kind of interesting, but not really. And then apparently they got all switched out for the characters from the first season. So it's like, fuck these guys you've been following for half a year.
Yeah.
Here's the old guys now because we're desperate.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've avoided seeing Seed and Seed Destiny simply because it just doesn't look that interesting visually for me. But most people tend to say Seed Destiny is the worst and Zeta is the best. For me, it's difficult for me to have to say which one is objectively or subjectively the best, only because my favorite of all time is G Gundam, and that's like so different from every other Gundam out there, and I'm well aware of that. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see. First question from Jordan Fazand, or the first of many questions. Jordan says, I apologize for my abundance of questions. No problem, Jordan. Again, hey, if anything, lots of questions helps out in the algorithm.
Oh, yeah, and it's better than no questions. Otherwise, it's just me and Andre like staring at each other virtually for an hour and a half.
Yeah, and nobody
trying to
wants
come
that.
up with conversation. Nobody wants that. I don't like him. He doesn't like me. Conversation, yuck.
I only pretend to like him. Otherwise,
it's an act.
I would have just walked away from him a long
I
time
know,
ago.
you jerks. Oh.
Let's see. Second question here. From Jordan. Andres, I
didn't let me be in any of your podcasts or your videos. I'm sorry.
I'm live streams, especially.
I know. I'm sulking. I apologize. Go ahead.
Let's see. Andres, I think you'll be happy to know that the other Super Robot Wars show, The Inspector, the mechs are all hand-drawn. Yeah, I've heard of that show. They got rid of the CGI because even they must have known it was awful. There was also that Super Robot Wars OVA, believe it or not, had the good guy mechs portrayed in 2D and the bad guys in CG, not even joking. Yeah, that's weird. Half your characters are in CG and the others aren't. Let's see. Then he made a comment, a huge comment talking about Cybuster. Thank you very much for that. Let's see. Another question. Have you heard of, or at least are familiar with, the horror mecha anime Better Man? In case...
Oh, that's just egotistical.
Yeah.
You gotta be joking at that point.
It's almost
I'm Better Man. Well, I'm Superman. Oh, yeah, well, I'm Super Duper Man. How do you like that?
I'm Super D-Duper Man.
1954.
In case you are wondering, it's a horror spin-off of Gao Gaigar, as it takes place in the same universe as it. If you have, could you not spoil anything, please? No, I have not seen nor heard of Better Man, but thank you for bringing it to my attention because I love Gal Gaigar. Another question. Are you familiar with the following anime titles that have the same character designer who worked on Mobile Suit Gundam Seed? Again, never watched Gundam Seed. Infinite Rivius. Oh, Revius, as he helps me here. No, I've not heard of that. S. Cryed. I know Jacob Baker likes that show, but I've never seen it. Fafnir in the Azure. God, these names. This is what happens when you try to have Japanese people make European-sounding names.
Oh, God.
They can barely speak English, so God help them for trying this. No, I've never heard of that. Hero's Age, never heard of that. Majestic Prince, never heard of that. Jin Iro no Olinsis. No, I've never heard of that. If you have seen them, can you also please not spoil them? I will indeed spoil everything. No. You or anyone else for that matter, I haven't seen either of them or haven't finished them yet. No, I have not seen any of them or heard of any of them except for Scryed.
Are you making these up?
Let's see. Question. Are you familiar with Black Rock Shooter? She's basically dark Hatsune Miku in terms of design, not personality. No, I have not heard of Black Rock Shooter. I know what Hatsune Miku is. She's that virtual idol girl. I'm assuming Black Rock Shooter is another one, or I don't know. Never heard of it. We have a new person, or this is Griff Phoenixsaurus Rex. Let's see. It's been a while, so I'll post some questions here. 1. Thoughts on Joker, the best film of the year. What? Thoughts on Joker, the best film of the year. So, obviously, we know how highly he thinks of the movie. Personally, I love the Joker. And I know you've had some issues with it personally, right?
Yeah, I didn't like it as I didn't like it as a just tortured soul movie. Because the sort of nods to Scorsese got it like obtrusive for me after a while, and just kind of came up. It was kind of reminded me of a few years back. I went to see what was it? A movie about Whitey Bulger with Johnny Depp in it. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was based off of a true story. But like the entire style of the movie was a gangster film, but it was like really heavily inspired by Goodfellas, that whole type of aesthetic to it. And it just seemed like, oh, we're doing an ode to Goodfellas and Mean Streets and Martin Scorsese, that type of thing, where it got annoying after a while. Same thing with this, where it was doing that a little too much, but with like Taxi Driver and King of Comedy for me. And then with the whole Joker thing, I always kind of hate that on principle. I respect Nolan a little more for it, but the fact that the director, I'm just paraphrasing, but I'm not too far off with the quote, literally said, we want to sneak a real movie into our comic book movie, just like made me despise him so much on a big level. I really don't like the grounding trend, like where we're going to twist and turn a comic book character so much because we want to feel sophisticated and like it's a real movie. So we're going to have Two-Face doing a line of coke off of Killer Croc or something. Because that's what real criminals do. It's real.
It's real, damn it. It's real.
It's real to me.
It's real.
But no, I didn't really care for it all that much. Though, Joaquin Phoenix was great. The acting was great. I'll say that. Nobody turned in a bad performance. Even the supporting cast, his mom, the actress who plays his mom was really weird and cool, and what's his face? Fucking Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro was great. He wasn't phoning it in, so that was nice.
You talking about me?
Well, you see, Rabe, when you leave a podcast, what do you get when a podcaster? I'm not going to finish this line. But I don't. It was. I can understand why people like it though, especially like the young folk, the younger generation who like maybe haven't like you, Andres, you the youngin' here. Or people just in general who haven't seen like movies like that. I could see why. Oh, they think this is a fresh take. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, and also we haven't really seen that style in quite a while.
That's true. Yeah, but for me it just kind of got a little too bleak and I understand that was the point, but a little too bleak and gross for me after a while. I really my favorite movie of the year was Jojo Rabbit, which is one I've seen recently,
I
and it's just
I still need to see that one though.
I had no real expectations or anything for it, but it's a really sweet, oddball, fun time, and an emotional roller coaster. I recommend people watching it, or recommend people to watch it.
Cool.
But the Joker's up for the Best Picture, isn't it?
I know he got a ton. I heard he got like a ton of awards, and I've seen memes of people like mocking the Marvel movies, how it's like they've tried so often, but it's like Joker ended up winning everything despite so many people trying. I remember that stupid controversy against the Joker. It's like, oh, it's gonna turn incels into murderers,
inspire violence and all that stuff.
Yeah, and yet there ended up being like a fist fight outside of a screening of Frozen 2.
I didn't hear about that. Yeah, that's fun.
Maybe that's to quote Maz Kanata, that's another story for another day. That we'll probably never get to.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next one. What do you think of Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 so far? For those who don't know, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 is the fourth and supposedly final Evangelion movie that's taken like 10 goddamn years to make. Because the people behind what was it, Gainax are bankrupt, or they're on the verge of bankruptcy. Let's see. It looks like Brayton is trying to reconnect. That is very strange here. I hope that reconnecting is okay. Just wondering, everybody, can anyone hear me? Just wondering if the connection on my end is still okay. Let's see here. Okay, so it looks like we're back.
I'm sorry, I was disconnected there.
No problem. See, I was just explaining that Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 is the fourth and supposedly final movie, and I believe there's a poster, and thank you, Inchoma, for confirming that you can hear me. And Jordan Fazand is explaining to me what that black rock shooter is, and thank you very much for that. Yeah, we've gotten like a poster and maybe a few snippets of animation. Personally, I don't think there's anything really to really judge so far. I mean, 3.0 went in a wildly different direction. Personally, I enjoyed it. So yeah, I don't know what to expect for what Anno thinks. I bet you Anno never even had an ending planned for.
Does he plan anything?
I don't know. Maybe he's just like he'll do something based on how he's feeling at the moment.
I guess. Is he planning anything for that Ultraman series he's doing?
Ooh,
I can't imagine that.
Speaking on that, let's check out. Oh, that's question number 4. Question number 3.
Oh, okay.
Do you think Star Wars is dead forever? No, not really. I feel like if Godzilla can remain as like a niche thing throughout all these years and stay alive as a result of thriving off the very hardcore, dedicated cult following, I feel like Star Wars can exist to some degree throughout the rest of pop culture history. What do you think?
Oh yeah. I even after all these years, I'm not jaded. I still enjoy Star Wars well enough. But yeah. They've are just like, fiscally speaking, Disney has invested way too much money to allow it to die. It's gonna be, even in the worst of times, they're gonna still keep it going on life support with a little. It's basically, Star Wars may end up like Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker. Spoiler alert, just like on this giant machine kept alive with his pupils glazed over. That's gonna be the Star Wars franchise in about 40 years, maybe, when they reboot everything.
Did you hear the news? There are some like financial people who have been crunching the numbers and have theorized that Disney may have lost, like, I think it was because they spend roughly $4.2 billion on Star Wars, and they think they've lost about $1 billion from this deal when you factor in all the merchandise, all the marketing, all the movies, all the theme park stuff that they've made. And all the return on their investment in the roughly 4 or 5 years since they purchased the brand.
Yeah.
So they most likely lost money as a result, instead of gaining money.
Yeah, I think they're pig-headed enough or thick-headed enough to be determined to see it through to a profit.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think there's no central vision to any of it, which is like making it collapse from inside itself. They've got they've got like 500 cooks in the kitchen.
Oh yeah.
Where they don't have a George Lucas there anymore to like ring everything in. They don't have a what's his name? Marvel dude.
Kathleen Kennedy was supposedly that person.
Yeah, but she's no.
No.
I've heard tons of people across the internet like who wanted what's his name? Dave Filoni to be the Kevin Feige of the Star Wars brand.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need a creative type person. No offense to Kathleen Kennedy, but she's been with Lucasfilm and Spielberg forever as a producer. But when it comes to like making new stories and coming up with new ideas to make the saga go forever and ever, I don't think she's the one to do it because people are not happy with her leadership so far. So I've heard from the internet.
Yeah, and only time will tell if any of the filmmakers and actors will finally like reveal whatever sort of frustrations they've been hinting at these last couple of years.
Yeah, I've heard little side comments from what's his name?
John
the
Boyega?
Actor plays Finn.
Yeah, he's pissed, man.
They ain't gonna Disney Plus me or whatever.
Yeah.
Or no, well, he's got a British accent.
Why is he Ernie Hudson Jr. all of a sudden?
I don't know. All of my impressions are turning into Ernie Hudson.
They're not going. I was almost going to do Cockney. They're not going to. They're going to Disney Plus
Disney Plus me right there, right? You fucking what, mate? No, but yeah, I would be interested in a tell-all book about the whole thing. Because something's gone on there, and it ain't right. Something's wrong. Star Wars shouldn't suck this bad.
Star Wars
says Mark Hamill as he's driving on the lot.
Star Wars filmmakers shouldn't be picking Twitter fights with their fans.
Yeah.
Bermakian Production says it has a super chat of $20. Thank you very much, dude. Much appreciated. Pardon me for interrupting, but while on this topic of anime, why is it in 2020 people are still debating on which is better, subs or dubs? In my opinion, dubs, if it's well acted, and it doesn't matter as long as the show is good. I think it's because people are just purists and they just want to enjoy the original version of the media they consume the way it was originally meant to be made.
I just don't understand. I don't understand if both options are available. Why bitch about it though?
Yeah,
why even have an argument unless you just want to argue with somebody?
Right. It's not like the days of it's not like the early 2000s where dubs were the only ones available on the market.
Yeah. And same thing with the fucking Godzilla movie. You've got HD widescreen Blu-rays of the original Japanese versions. Have a cookie, shut up, and enjoy your pure art.
As you can debate on which one is better, but you don't have to demonize the other for enjoying one more. Personally, I like dubs.
No.
When it comes to anime, because they're cartoons, and so I don't see any sort of specific actor attached to them. When it's like a live action thing, then it's like, okay, I like to hear the original words coming out of that actor's mouth.
Yeah. And it's not as jarring when it's animation too, because the mouth flaps. I don't know what the term for that is, but
that's what they call them.
Yeah.
Let's see. And Shoma says
it looks a little less. It looks a little less silly because they sync up better that way, I guess.
Yeah. And Shoma says Kathleen also comes off as someone who generally sucks at basic story logic and writing, much like J.J. Abrams or the Jokers behind most of the DCEU. He says, "Thank you to your comment. We live in an era of Blu-ray. Both versions options are there no matter what." Let's see.
Yeah. Don't argue about it. You got all those choices. Just enjoy what you like. Don't demonize other people for not watching the same version of something that you're watching.
Yeah. Let's see. So, question number 4: thoughts on Shin Ultraman? Shin Ultraman. That's how you're supposed to pronounce it. I think, because I know Anno is definitely a diehard Ultraman fan. He made his own Ultraman fan film, and it pretty much fit in line with what you expect out of Ultraman. So I feel like as experimental as Shin Godzilla was, I feel like Shin Ultraman is just going to be just like a tribute / homage to the original Ultraman, to this original Ultraman, especially given how his design was straight up based on old concept art of Ultraman. So again, there's not a lot to go off of, but from what we've seen of the design itself, it looks like it's gonna be very traditional. And knowing how protective Tsuburaya is of their brand, I doubt they're gonna be as liberal, or they're not. What's the word? They're not. They're gonna be. I doubt they're gonna let Anno take chances like Toho did with Godzilla, since as of 2016, nobody in Japan gave a shit about Godzilla. So it's like, fine, you can do whatever you want. But here, people still give a shit about Ultraman to some extent.
Yeah. So he's not going to have as free reign with
he's not going to shoot a spacium beam out his butt.
Oh, thank God. Oh, but it's ironic. That's what I wanted to see. That would have sold the character to me. If he just, instead of flying around, he just shot a giant purple beam out of his butt to get around, and then he cried afterwards because Anno. I'm kidding, of course. I don't want to put the false narrative out there as that Anno's work is very moody, but I'm sure all of his anime shows are very lighthearted and romps. I don't want to put the false narrative.
If we're talking
out
about Gunbuster, then hell fucking yeah.
Okay.
Number 5. This is for you, Brayton. Brayton, just admit Shin Godzilla is a great film and King of the Monsters is a poorly made film. If we're gonna do this objectively, this is a serious question.
Oh my God. I'll admit that King of the Monsters is a poorly made film. I don't know if I've ever protested that.
I think you've done that in our original spoiler discussion live stream.
Did I say, I thought I was I thought I came across as clear that I wasn't a fan of King of the Monsters.
Yeah. I saw it recently over the Christmas break because my family got me the Blu-ray for it for Christmas.
Yeah.
I still enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
But a lot of the movies, a lot of the way radiation works in that series, a lot of the villain's motivations, and the especially the mother character, and the way the radiation works in this series, where it's able to magically bring to life plants for the Amazons and whatnot, it's just batshit retarded, man. Radiation does not work that way. I'm sure you can say, oh, but what about Chernobyl? Chernobyl has fucked up, plants and animals growing there. The only reason why plants and animals...
Don't you remember when they had to drop a nuke on Chernobyl to bring Vladimir Putin back to life to fight off the evil Germans?
It's like on one hand I can just look at it as just, it's just comic book logic, the same kind of logic that made radioactive spiders turn Peter Parker into Spider-Man. It's just that sort of dumb comic book logic. But on the other hand, you can tell that they were trying to be serious about this sort of environmental message, and it just doesn't work with the way they presented it. And,
I will say,
yeah.
I really like King of the Monsters in comparison to Shin Godzilla, though. I'll say with repeated
it's very
viewings,
fun. I'll still say that it's still a fun movie.
And that's what I gear myself towards in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've let my shield down a little bit over time. I've seen the movie 3 times, King of the Monsters, and I've grown to accept it well enough. I don't need super heady boardroom meetings that, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, what are we gonna do, in all of my Godzilla movies, so I like to have fun with my giant radioactive dinosaurs, and I think I described it on one of Raph's streams as a true Toho Godzilla movie as directed by Roland Emmerich or something, where he couldn't make him a giant iguana and do all this silly bullshit. He had to direct an actual Godzilla movie, and this is what he made. It feels very modern Hollywood to me, and a lot of stupid Hollywood style archetypes. But it's a light, breezy movie that goes down easy, I guess. I don't know if that's a compliment, but I like it in comparison to Shin Godzilla, and I will never admit anything positive about Shin Godzilla, good sir. Who wrote that comment?
It was Gryphenosaurus Rex.
Fuck you, Gryphenosaurus Rex. I'm kidding, but You're wrong.
Wrong.
You broke my microphone, and you're wrong.
Let's see. So, next question. This is gonna be interesting. Best Nostalgia Critic episode. Just curious.
Heavens.
Nostalgia Critic's
The Wall.
Yes.
I am singing. I am singing now. That's my Doug Walker singing voice. There.
You got to have these like more high pitch and squealy.
Yeah, I don't know. Nostalgia. Is there a good Nostalgia Critic episode?
I'd argue that a lot of the 2008, 2009 Nostalgia Critics somewhat hold up. Maybe not from a production standpoint, given how like echoey and like kind of low quality the cameras and microphones were used back in the day. But I would say he hasn't gotten much better. No, he's not. No. I feel like he's someone who just revels in his mediocrity and refuses to improve, or he in his mind more green screen shows improvement.
Yeah.
But it's like
shit. He hasn't not evolved with the times at all. He just does the same gimmick, and the only new thing is just put more of my dumb friends in dumb costumes and put them in a green screen.
And just
green screen room
and just piggyback off the creativity of other movies that I'm quote unquote parodying.
Yeah.
But I would say I would look back at his like early 2008 videos, and like a lot of these videos are like 15 minutes in length, like 8 to 15 minutes generally. Mm-hmm. And in these bite-sized chunks, the pacing is, looking back on his original style of videos, his pacing was better. He's putting out jokes at a faster pace. He talks about stuff that he's actually fond of, as opposed to he is really like he comes off like a huge boomer.
He's run out of things to be nostalgic for. It looks like he just does modern movies that come out in theaters and reenacts the whole thing.
And there are points where he talks about stuff from the 90s and 2000s that he clearly never grew up on, like Pokemon and Digimon, and his Sailor Moon one was god awful, but it's like he comes off like a boomer anytime he tries to talk about stuff that he clearly when he talks about shit he clearly did not talk about. Emmanuel Cruz says, "What are y'all talking about? First time here." Hey, Emmanuel.
Fuck if I know.
We are answering questions left in the comments of the last audio synchronicity, which is what we generally do every episode. However, if someone leaves a super chat, we'll answer that question there.
Nostalgia Critic was like when I first discovered YouTube was a thing, like in my first year of middle school. Mm-hmm. I remember watching a few. I never really was a big fan of his, but I remember being entertained enough by like the crossover he did with AVGN. I was like, look, two dorks fighting funny big lasers. I thought he was funny enough when I was a kid and like I hadn't seen many other like
good
YouTubers.
Good YouTubers.
People who were good at this stuff, and I was like, hey, he's not so bad. And then when you look back on it, it's like when you look back at Nostalgia Critic, for me anyway, it's like watching embarrassing real early YouTube videos of people like just being stupid in their dorm rooms or whatever. It's hard. It's hard to watch because he hasn't improved with the times, but like everybody who's been, I guess, inspired by that style are like just so much better at it than he is, and the production is better.
Yeah.
Like Brandon Tenold, even, who does like a similar style of review shows. So much,
clearly, Brandon Tenold needs to put more green screen effects, have shitty costumes, and skits out the wazoo. If not, we will challenge him to a trial by combat.
Well, he has that like a Canadian ninja or something in his recent Godzilla reviews. So maybe that'll be a reoccurring character who like has to save him from a movie dimension or something, whatever the fuck was going on into Boldly Flee. Their black hole, their plot hole, that's what it was.
Let's see. So in terms of the best ones, I'm looking down all his Nostalgia Critics like 2008 content. I want to say the best ones, in my opinion, were the top 11 underrated nostalgic classics, where he talks about like a lot of stuff that deserved more that deserved more attention and praise, like The Rocketeer, Prince of Egypt, Flight of the Navigator, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Secret of Nim. And my other favorite of his was the top 12 greatest Christmas specials, talking about stuff like Charlie Brown Christmas, A Christmas Carol, Christmas Story, It's a Wonderful Life, Christmas Vacation, Miracle on 34th Street. It's like I enjoyed it whenever he would talk about good stuff that he wants to recommend to people instead of looking for stuff to cynically tear apart.
Yeah,
and
his brand of snark kind of gets old.
Yeah.
Like when he's just shouting and yelling and saying, this thing sucks, in like different, multiple variety of ways.
And shouts
and
like
screaming and flailing.
Like a screaming goat.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it? Oh, yeah, and, as a kid, I did not know that as, like, a kid. Like, this is 2008, so, yeah, I was still in high school, so I was 2 years away from graduating, so I did not know that much about film in general. So, like, listening to him having, like, more experience than I did at the time, it was great hearing these nice recommendations from him.
Yeah.
And, or even stuff like The Secret of Nim, I had vague memories of watching it, but he gave me, like, a new appreciation for that. And so there's a reason why he was a big inspiration for many YouTubers, including myself, in that he just had a lot of this passion for critiquing media. And while it feels like, you can definitely tell in the newer videos, he wants to move away from critiquing and more into comedy, but he just sucks at comedy. I mean, at least it's not his forte. Yeah. And that's sad because he's based his entire brand off of that.
Yeah, he can't do anything else. Like he's when he tries different stuff like that. What was that stupid game show thing?
Pop Quiz Hot Shot.
Pop Quiz Hot Shot. Yeah, when he tries different business ventures, big air quotes. Fails. Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing.
So,
like, whether it's Pop Quiz Hot Shot, whether it's demo reel, whether it's quote unquote new. Nostalgia Critic, which is sad because
they have like a production building now. Don't they have like a warehouse that they shoot out of now or something?
That's super echoey, and the acoustics are terrible in that place. So,
I saw a picture of like where they film their the Channel Awesome headquarters, or whatever the fuck they want to call it. Yeah. And yet you're still filming in front of your dingy little echoey wall, and the production value is
because that's the only place that doesn't have bad echo. That's why.
I guess I don't know. Also, I just feel like the internet and like the Times have just like so outgrown his brand of humor,
right?
To where like it may have been more funny during Ray William Johnson era YouTube as opposed to like people are just.
I'm surprised you're aware of Ray William Johnson.
Only like he's again a vague fleeting memory of years past that he existed and had a show.
I was there, man. I was there when the Ray William Johnsons and the Freds and the Matthew Buck show, what the Buck show was still around.
I remember the first time a friend at my elementary school, Isabel, mentioned Fred and how much she loved Fred, and I was like, "Oh, what's Fred?" That's how I talked back then. I was a child, Andres. You see, so I talked like Fred. And I had no idea what she was talking about. And then I saw the episode of iCarly where Fred appears, and I'm like, "Oh, that's Fred? What? He lives in a tree house? What? This is weird." But no, the internet is it's definitely, YouTube has evolved and devolved at the same time into something entirely different, where Ray William Johnson folk and Doug Walker folk, I don't think really gel well with the modern kids and their sensibilities.
Yeah. Let's see, moving on. Number 7, is there a way to play Super Robot Wars DD in English? Let me guess, no. I don't know. Question number 8. Did you ever see Planet with... That's the actual name, you massive. I have no idea what this question is asking. Sorry, man.
I think he's having troubles here. Have you ever seen Planet with You Massive? Is that the name of a show?
He's
Planet
like,
with
English,
You Massive?
motherfucker, how you speak it? Can you speak it? Number 9. In Shoma, just admit that Power Ranger monsters are just cannon fodder, only meant to be thrown away in the garbage, and pure cringe. I think Shoma just got wrecked here.
What do you say to that, Enshoma? Well, nuts to you, Bootsy Magoo.
Well, We're
We're
waiting.
Poor Raph. Their Power Ranger monsters are special to me, even though I can't name a single one. So I'm sticking up for them. They're not
Pumpkin
cringe.
Rapper.
They're just Pumpkin Raph. Yeah, he's an inspiration. I'm sure Raph would agree with me if he was here.
Let's see. Number 10. Thoughts on Dragon Maid and its tragedy. Are you referring to Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid? Because if so, I have never seen it. I know Denny has, and maybe Will, although I'm only assuming that because Will tends to like that stuff. Jordan says, Planet Whiff is a mecha anime where kids try to kill these superheroes because they didn't save him. Okay, never seen it, never heard of it, but sounds interesting. And Shoma says, who asked that dumb question? Gray Phoenix Rexo McGee? Let's see.
We ain't got no place around here for no Phoenix Rexo McGee.
Number 11, thoughts on Mazinger Z Infinity. I still haven't seen that movie, although I really want to. And finally, Andres, you made a tribute to Stan Lee, right? Yeah. But did you call him... But wait, I guess he meant to say wait. Did you call him the Bill Finger of Marvel before that? That's all I got. Godspeed, you missives. I don't think I ever called him that. I just know that he did try to gain more credit to the characters than the artists involved. Like, everyone remembers Stan Lee.
Oh, so he's the Bob Kane.
He's the Bob Kane,
Finger
not the
thing.
Bill Finger.
Yeah.
No, I would say... No. In the past, I said that Steve Ditko was almost like the Bill Finger of Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's, I feel like Stan Lee got a disproportionate amount of credit in comparison to Steve Ditko, who did a lot of the creative work, as much creative work as Stan Lee, in my opinion. But Stan Lee was an awesome guy. He tried to make everyone happy as best as he could. He was still an inspiration to others. And
Excelsior,
yes. And Shoma says, I swear the guy got his knickers in a bunch based on one simple comment I made, and has been out for me ever since. I've liked the Power Ranger monsters a lot, but they suffered from the expendable... I'm assuming he's going to continue with another comment. Other than that, then he got it.
That was pretty good, Andres. I think we're more Raph at this point than we are. Than he is.
We've become more Raph than man.
Twisted and goofy.
Let's see. Back to Jordan. Question: are you familiar with Kamen Rider Blade memes? No. Let's see. Question: have you seen Macross? Yes. If so, what entries have you seen, and what do you think of them? I've seen the original Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, which became, although technically I know weebs are gonna be upset, but I saw the Robotech version of Macross, not the Japanese version, and I saw Macross Plus. Both I loved heavily, and I can definitely see why they've gone on to become, especially in the case of the original Macross, I can see why it's become a classic staple of anime culture. And I can see that, and I loved Macross Plus so much. And hey, you got Bryan motherfucking Cranston voicing the main character of Macross Plus. So it's Bryan Cranston flying a jet that turns into a giant robot fighting an evil alien, an evil, what do you call it? Hologram AI. What's the name? Hal. Hatsune Miku.
Oh, HAL 9000?
Yeah, imagine HAL 9000 was like a virtual pop idol like Hatsune Miku, and that's the villain of Macross Plus.
Holy cow, you've sold me. I'm into it now.
It's Bryan Cranston fighting Hatsune Miku with a giant robot.
What more do you want?
Also, it's like Top Gun, so that's another thing.
That's always a blessing.
And Shoma continued, villain, but they suffer from the expendable villain trope that Toei Productions does with almost all their shows, and thank goodness Toho and Super Riot Pro treat them monsters better. Plus, I has a great run of Power Ranger monsters, from Mighty Morphin to Mystic Force, so way too many favorites and inspirations from my own creations. How you doing?
He's almost turning into a Scatman Crothers-like character.
Yes, I am. Come on, Prime, we got to fight the Decepticons. Let's see. Next one. Are you familiar with David Carradine? Yes, but I haven't seen much of his work.
Yeah, I like David Carradine well enough.
I can certainly say he went out with a bang.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, David Carradine, but why? Why'd you have to die that way?
He came and went at the same time.
he lived as what do you say? He lived as he died and died as he lived.
Jerking off? What? I don't know what we're.
He enjoyed life to the fullest. Damn it.
To the fullest, yes. No, he was a fine actor though. He comes from a fine acting family. What his brother was the dad on the first season of Fargo. It's like Keith Carradine or something like that. And I don't know or not. Is he related to John Carradine, the man who never said no to an acting part in film?
I wouldn't know. Let me see. John Carradine.
I haven't pinned down if they're related or not.
Let's see. Oh, okay. David Carradine is John Carradine's son.
Okay. I had always assumed that they were somewhat related, but okay. Well then, yeah, a fine acting family. Pity about poor Dave though, and how it had to end. But he was a good actor, and he was in Kung Fu and other stuff. Kill Bill. He was great.
Oh yeah, that's
good man.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Next question. What Godzilla comics have you read, and what are your thoughts on all of them? No spoilers, and run through them Gundam style. So you want to do it like a South Korean pop singer?
Oh please! I've been waiting for this. We need to form our own K-pop band, Andres. I'll get the wigs and uniforms.
And I'll get the crippling depression and the lack of freedom to have a girlfriend and apologize profusely to fans if I do so much as sneeze in the wrong direction. Or just gain 1 extra pound of weight.
I ate a pea today. I feel so fat.
Seriously though, fuck the idol business. Not the poor talented musicians who are desperately trying to make it big in the world, but no, just everything around it. Yeah. Let's see, David Godzilla comics. So I've read the Marvel comics, really fun. I've read the Dark Horse comics, also fun and somewhat pretty ambitious, but not as fun as the Marvel stuff. I've read, Kingdom of the Monsters, which was awful. Gangsters and Goliaths, which was pretty good. Legends, which was also very uneven, but pretty good. The second Godzilla ongoing series, which was okay. Rulers of Earth, which was a hell of a lot of fun. Maybe the best Godzilla comic, if not for Half Century War, which was perfect. Cataclysm, which was okay. The ending didn't make any sense, though. Let's see. What else have I read other than that? I haven't actually read, because my Japanese is still very poor, but I own the entire manga collection of the manga adaptations from Godzilla 84 to Godzilla 2000s, and they were all very interesting, very heavily abridged, but action-packed adaptations of the movies themselves. And probably if they were adapted into anime, I would say maybe they could potentially be better in some cases than the later Heisei movies themselves.
God, I want a Final Wars manga. Oh, that's all I crave. Final Wars manga and adapt that into an anime, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah. We should commission someone to draw anime style art. We should get Denny to imagine Denny drawing anime style art of Gordon, Lieutenant Gordon.
Fucking Don Fry beating women up with his swords.
Godzilla in Hell I have not read, and Godzilla Oblivion I have not read. Don't really have any interest in checking out Oblivion. I have some interest in checking out Godzilla Rage Across Time, and I'm very interested in reading Godzilla in Hell.
Yeah. What is Gangsters and Goliath? Is it a Godzilla 1920s gangster crossover? What is that about?
So it was like this one guy who runs across the Japanese mafia, and I forgot what reason how he got across them, but they threw him out a plane into Monster Island, and from there he comes across the twin fairies who save him with Mothra. And he realized, I can use these fairies and Mothra to get revenge on the Yakuza. So he somehow travels back to Japan, kidnapping the fairies with him, and Mothra follows, and Mothra is like laying waste to any Yakuza territory that he takes the fairies to. And at that point, all chaos, for whatever reason, I guess, Mothra and the Twin Fairies are the key to having all the monsters stay on Monster Island. So without Mothra and the fairies there, all the monsters decide to leave the island and run amok in Tokyo. So now the guy has to team up with the main character has to team up with his sons to make things right. And that involves Mecha Godzilla for some reason. It's like it's simple and easy to follow, but it gets more and more convoluted as it goes along, which is why it's merely okay.
Yeah,
and you can tell it's
when you talk about the guy getting thrown out of a plane, I'm just imagining DB Cooper versus Godzilla now. And I need that.
And we need. Sadly, there are no shirtless guys in this comic.
Oh well, then I mean automatic thumbs down for me. But no, yeah, I haven't read. I've read Half Century War. I actually got a recommendation from Bill's old review of it from years back.
Yeah.
I read that and that was great. And then as a younger fellow, I rented when I was real young, I rented one of what's the author's name, Mark Krestiski or whatever, who wrote the novels that had Bob Eggleton's artwork on it. On the cover. And have I read any? I don't think I've read anything else. Oh, I read the comic book adaptation of the 94 script. Does that count?
I think it stinks. Let's see. Even with the comic now completed, it still stinks.
Oh, gosh.
Let's see. So... next question. What are some things you wish could have been improved on in the Netflix Ultraman show? And you can't say the dub because that's too easy for a target when it comes to anime nowadays. Definitely everything involving the pseudo love interest, the pop idol girl, because she's written really inconsistently, and you can tell they didn't plan ahead when they wrote her, because it's like she supports Ultraman, but then it turns out she hates Ultraman because Ultraman killed her mother, which was in 1966, so how old is she in that case? Yeah, the whole thing with the idol girl is very sloppily handled. It was really nice when she was introduced as a huge Ultraman fangirl, and her father hated Ultraman. She did not trust her father. Who is a cop. Does not trust the new Ultraman. It's like, that's not Ultraman. I know Ultraman.
Hashtag not my Ultraman.
Exactly, yeah. And she and him were on opposite sides of the Ultraman debate, sort of. Kind of like your pro Batman versus anti Batman.
Yeah.
That was a really good setup for some interesting personal conflicts down the road. But turns out she hates Ultraman also for a weird asinine reason. Yeah, like I said, Jordan, yeah, she hates him because the original Ultraman killed her mother, which doesn't make sense because, again, that took place 50 years ago. And let's see, Andres says, look on the bright side, sexy Dada is all you need. Oh, yeah, especially voiced by what was his name? He played Spike Spiegel. Why am I forgetting his name? He's, everywhere. Let's see.
Ernie Hudson? He's always there.
Let's see. Who's the voice actor who played him? Steve Blum, yes. Dada played by Steve Blum. And he's awesome, almost awesome, and he's awesome in almost everything he's in. Let's see. Even when he's playing a sentient bag of potato chips in commercials, he's awesome. Let's see. But yeah,
method acts his parts.
he dreamed that he was that.
He was the potato
chips. Jordan says, how did he kill her? Was it by accident? Yes, because I believe it was the final battle between Ultraman and Zeton. And everyone is shouting at me, Steve Blum! Let's see. If only the delay between our stream and the YouTube stream it wasn't so bad. Oh, okay, thank you. His name was spelled backward. His name was Adad.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. So yeah, that's the one thing I would fix with the Netflix anime. The Netflix Ultraman anime. Otherwise, I love all of it. Gray Phoenix just showed up saying, "Hello there." Let's see.
Graphenosaurus Rex. Hey, oh yeah, that's the guy who said that I should apologize. Fuck you. That's the fucker right there.
Let's see. Question: what makes the Rodan portion Godzilla Legends so bad? Is the artwork? Yes. The story? Yes. The characters? Yes. What? Yes. Always. I hated all of it. Also, it just feels like a really petty childhood revenge fantasy, where it's like, I'm gonna raise Rodan so I can use him to kill my bullies, and then and I'll say screw you to my dad for abandoning me because I'm gonna fly with Rodan to Monster Island and live in perfect happiness and harmony.
God, who gave the Death Note guy a kaiju story? That would never happen, would it? Oh. Kong versus Godzilla.
Let's see. Jordan Fazan says that's in response to me explaining the pop idol girl's backstory. That's so stupid. The pop idol stuff's so stupid. Like from Frieza from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Yes, that's stupid. You're stupid.
Your stupid minds. Stupid.
Question: are you familiar with Captain Harlock? Yes, I have not seen the original anime, but I did see that CGI movie, and I've seen Captain Harlock through my playthrough of Super Robot Wars T. I really want to watch the original series if I can. I just don't have time for many television shows these days. Jordan asks you mean Light Yagami? I'm assuming you're talking about the director, not the actor or the character. Right?
What?
When you brought up the Death Note guy, were you referring to the director, the actor, or the character?
I was talking about the director.
Okay.
What's his face? What's his face? The guy who did the Death Note movie. What's his name?
I'm also blanking out on that.
What's his name?
Names,
Tell me his name.
I want them.
Oh God! I'm sure someone in the comments will scream at us in about 50 minutes about it. Yeah.
Adam Wingard.
Adam Wingard. Yeah. I looked up his filmography. He's never made anything good, but I'm sure this will turn out well.
Adam
Wingardinger. It's gonna be a wingdinger of a doozy. This one.
Let's see. So filmography. So have you seen Homesick?
No, but it looks like blah.
Pop Skull.
Pop Skull Hot Shot? Isn't that another failed Doug Walker project?
A Horrible Way to Die.
No.
Autoerotic.
I'll admit that I haven't seen... Oh, I've seen that. Oh, yeah. No.
What Fun We Were Having.
Okay, I should say I should not cast judgment on the man, but I mean, come on. Keep going.
You're Next.
No, I haven't seen that either.
The Guest.
Didn't he do the Blair Witch remake? That's the only other thing I've seen.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Outcast.
Okay.
Blair Witch.
No.
Death Note.
Yeah.
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh boy.
His movies do not strike confidence.
But I'm sure they've got a great writer in there to sort of rein in the ideas and sort of like who knows about Godzilla and the lore and can really turn out a great Godzilla story. Terry Rossio.
I don't know why Chris Sanders just had a Yo Mama joke, but it's so stupid I can't help but laugh. Yo Mom is so stupid she canceled her doctor's appointment because she wasn't feeling good.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Is this Adam Wingard like a troll account of his? Talk about my mama now because I don't like your autoerotic movies.
Let's see. Final question from 6 days ago. In your opinion, what were the worst part about the Hangover movies? The fact that it repeated the same damn plot over and over again, and the fact that it turned into a series when it clearly only had enough creative juice for one single movie.
Yeah, I've never seen the sequels, but there's like 3 of them, right? Hangover 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, there's 3
trilogy.
Yeah, I would say if there's anything good about number 3 is that it had why am I blanking out his name? John Goodman. I've got it confused with
Monsters
Roseanne's character.
Monsters exist, and its name is Zach Galifianakis.
I was married to Roseanne. Of course they exist. No, but yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. It was a little too like guy humory for me, for lack of a better term. Like, oh, look, the baby's jerking off and that kind of humor. And who's the Asian guy who's on Community? Chow, yeah. I don't know. It seemed a little too much for my personal taste, but I could see why people like it. But yeah, if it's that humor, 2 times and only worse, I can't imagine that turning out success. I think I saw the trailer for the second one, and then I never heard anything about
It's literally the same movie beat for beat. It's what Home Alone 2 was for Home Alone 1. Except they're in Bangkok instead of Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Although, funny enough, if I ever get the chance to meet Garayan in his hometown, I have some semblance of a reference for what to expect.
The only thing I heard about the second one was they used Mike Tyson. One of the characters had Mike Tyson's tattoo, and there was a minor lawsuit about that or something from Mike Tyson.
I know he came back in the second movie just to sing.
Oh, was he there? Okay.
Yeah, just to sing One Night in Bangkok and.
Oh no!
One night in Bangkok and the world's your oyster.
Oh, that's a recipe for disaster. But no, I heard that there was a lawsuit around the second movie that they used his tattoo, or that I don't know if it was a lawsuit or just like a settlement.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I ever heard about that, and then I didn't hear a single thing about the third one.
Okay. Yeah. The first one just came and went. It's like, if anything, the most interesting one, the only thing I can even remember about the movie was this little like parody poster of like, because I think it was like the same year the final Harry Potter movie came out, and so they were doing the little poster of them facing off, but it's like Zach Galifianakis and Cho just like facing each other. I don't know. That's the only thing I can remember from it.
Because it's funny.
Oh, okay. So the one thing is like the dude who disappears, the same fucker who disappears in the first 2 movies, he's with them for like half the movie, and then they got involved in some like European mafia who then kidnaps him, so now they gotta get him again.
Yeah, there's not a lot of creative mileage out of this series. How many gross fart jokes can we stick in there? How many naked Asian guys can we have in our movie? How many times can Zach Galifianakis do something?
Oh, okay. I remember. So in the beginning of the third movie, I believe this is the third movie, he buys a giraffe and he's carrying the giraffe in his truck, and they go under a low-hanging bridge, and which decapitates the giraffe, and the giraffe's head goes flying into the windshield of a family like van.
This is like Ren and Stimpy. This is stupid. Why are we doing this? We're decapitating giraffe. Oh God, who made those movies? Was it just one director in charge of all of them?
Oh man, I really don't know. I just know that like it was a huge success for Warner Brothers, and so it's like we gotta do it again.
Yeah. I can't imagine when you get to the point of decapitating giraffes on camera. I think it's time to call it quits. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the first one, and didn't see either of the other ones. I just heard bad things about the second, and then the third one went under the radar for me. But I don't know. Probably get remade in another 50 years, and
I mean,
it'll be the same shit again.
I mean, look what they did with Vacation.
Yeah.
Who had the same dude who was in this movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What's his name?
Ed
Andy.
Helms.
Yeah. Andy Bernard from The Office.
And Shoma said the same guy behind Joker made the Hangover films, which explains a lot.
Really? Okay.
Let's see. I'm checking right now the director. Yep, Todd Phillips.
Oh my God.
In fact, like he did nothing but comedies up before Joker.
Hmm.
Although I could have sworn he did something else.
Well, you know what they say, Raph, or you know what they say, Andres.
What is saying?
At first, he thought his filmography was a comedy. It turns out it was a tragedy. Or is that the other way around? I don't know. I don't give a shit.
Turns out he thought his life was a tragedy, but it was merely a comedy for us.
Yes. A comedy that happened to involve Zach Galifianakis being a major weirdo.
I also could have sworn... Let's see, who worked on...
Doesn't he shave his head in the second one? Is he bald? Because I remember you guys, the SOS, had your... Yeah.
I remember.
You had that poster. You remember that?
Yes,
I remember those days. I was there. Yeah, so that's the only thing I know about any of the sequels is that Zach Galifianakis is bald in one of them, and Mike Tyson sued somebody. But that's interesting though. Todd Phillips being involved as he made the Hangover movies and then Joker after that. I'll give him props that the Joker is better than the first Hangover movie, at least comparatively speaking.
And to answer the question, is Cho a Chad? I don't know. Bermakian has one last question via Super Chat. Last one. What are your, meaning you two, thoughts on Godzilla 1954, 65 years later, and what verdict would you give it? I think it stinks.
It went all downhill after 54, let me tell you.
No, it holds up to this very day, barring the Godzilla puppet mainly, but given its budget, its resources, its the full context of its production, it is amazing that they even put together a movie in the first place. Given everything that went against them, it's truly a visual marvel. It's visually, inspirationally, it's creatively one of the best films ever made.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. I think literally everybody would tell you the same thing. Mm-hmm. I haven't read much critical towards that movie. Except Roger Ebert, the fraud, the hack, who hates fun and movies.
Even though he is...
We need to cancel Roger Ebert.
You're going down, Roger Ebert, wherever you are right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The puppet, what they had to work with, the puppet's fine. It's a fine puppet.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah. I just wish they kept...
I'm sure back then it was pretty terrifying.
I wish they would have kept the little cow in its mouth, or person.
Oh, that would have been great. Yeah, a little cow there. I saw that photo. Isn't the cow like huge though? If you really think about it comparatively.
Yeah, but then again,
isn't it a giant cow?
Scaling has always been fucked in the Godzilla movies.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. So
God, his foot was huge in '84. I watched that recently. My God, there's the giant foot stomping across 2 miles of cars.
Let's see.
Sorry, I have a thing for Godzilla feet. I apologize.
How dare you? This is a family program, Brayton.
I know. I don't want to cross over into Dylan's territory too. Does he still have a thing against Godzilla feet looking a certain way?
So it looks like either moving ahead, it looks like we are just about finished with our comments here. So let us wrap up everything. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on another episode of Audio Synchronicity. Now to do the normal, usual plugs here. Of course, as I always mention every time, my comic book, Primal Warrior Draco Azul #1, is available on Amazon. You can get it physically, you can get it digitally, Comixology or Kindle or both for the same price. Let's see. And also, I'm proud to announce that in terms of the development for Primal Warrior Draco Azul number 2, I will have Jeff Zornow back to do another cover for Primal Warrior Draco Azul issue 2.
Nice. It's going to be even more epic than this one, Andres.
Oh, I bet so. In fact, I will show
Is he going
you.
to have chainsaws and lasers on his head?
Sadly, none of that. But I did have my friend Steve create a mock-up for like a sort of for something for Jeff to work off of. So I'm going to send you. Let's see. Do I have it? I'm going to send it to you on Facebook right now so we can get your live reaction of the cover, what the basic gist of what the cover is going to look like for Draco Azul number 2. Let's see here. Going over. Let's see.
No, all you realize all's writing on this one, Andres. It's the sequel, so it's gotta not be a letdown.
And I'm very proud of how it turned out, because I feel like between issues 1 and 2, I feel like my writing has improved substantially, and I just hope to God that that's the case. That other people will think so as well.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see. Oh yeah. Sorry for the delay. Just that I updated my phone, so everything's a little different now.
And scary.
And scary, yes. It's different and scary. I'm always late when it comes to updating my phone. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so I'll forward it to you, and you should get it right now.
Oh, yeah, that already looks pretty awesome.
Yep.
It's going to be awesome, folks.
You heard it here from Brayton himself.
I'll tell you once we're done, but I like a certain aspect of it that makes it fucking cool as hell. But yeah, I can't wait for it. I'm telling you, if you sell them at G-Fest again, they're going to be flying off the shelves. You're going to get more exposure there. You need to have like a giant Draco Azul standee, like cardboard thing that waves to the people as they come in.
just like that. Some people, for whatever reason, have like a cardboard stand-up cutout of Danny DeVito. Or just have Danny DeVito just there, just to attract. It's going to attract
in a Draco Azul costume.
In a Draco Azul costume. Yeah. So
also, got a little scarf and everything.
Also, I can confirm 100% confirm that I will be having a table of my own at G-Fest this year in the Artist Alley.
So now you don't have to bum table with that old Roth Squatch this time around.
Exactly. But I may share my table. It really depends, because I'm currently in talks with someone to see how that'll happen. But yeah, hopefully I'll have my comics there. I'll have some mini posters there like last time, and I'll hopefully, if all goes well, have my Draco Azul figures there as well.
Oh yes.
Let's see. The final prototype is currently being made, and if everything goes right, I have someone in America who may potentially take over and continue onward from there, using the prototype and molding that I'm having made in Thailand. Let's see. Also like to talk about once more God's Wrath Tournament of the Divine Book 1, which is available on Amazon and physically and digitally on Kindle as well, written by our friend Crooked Lore. I helped edit it, so check that out if you're into anime light novel inspired, shonen anime light novel inspired stories. We have Attack of the Kaiju Volume 2, The Next Wave, which is an anthology of kaiju stories that I participated in. So I have my Draco Azul story involved in there, which is called Draco Azul Divine Intervention. I'm currently writing another Draco Azul short story that you can see in hopefully the next issue of Attack the Kaiju, as well as an article that I'm currently writing about, giving like a retrospective on the Shogun Warriors Marvel comics. And finally, Duel of the Monsters, Volume 1, which is a horror-themed monster anthology book that is available on Amazon as well, that I edited. I helped edit every single story involved in there. And finally there is Nago-Rayar, Against the Terror of the Moon, the complete saga, which is available on K Productions website. So I got my copy as well. A lot of other my friends who also just went to get have bought their own copies received them as well. And so yeah, you can purchase Volume 1, Volume 2, or get them both together in one badass box set.
Marvelous.
Yep. So that is it for today's episode. Thank you so very, very much, everybody. Like I say every time, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you for sticking with us this whole time. We just hope that you were able to have fun as much as we were. And until next time, I have been Andres Perez, aka Kaiju Noir.
I am Brayton Connor, and Andres, I hereby challenge you to a podcast by combat.
Sure, we can schedule that at G-Fest.
Okay.
All right. So
next audio synchronicity is going to be a live stream of us just wailing swords at each other.
We're just going to be like a slap fight. Like,
Yeah, this is stupid.
All right. So thank you very much, everybody. And until next time, take care.